this is going to be a very interesting camp for Team USA because they enter as the defending gold medalists. And Team USA has never repeated at this tournament. They have never gone back to back at the World Juniors. They've done it at the under 18 level. They have not done it at the senior level. They have done it, they've won multiple gold medals over the last decade, but not consecutively. And that seems to be like the next step for this is you've strung a good year. You had a good year. Can you string a few together? Canada's, won 5 in a row. And we've seen Russia back in the day, the USSR won many in a row. But USA has never done it. And I think it's very hard to do because the rosters change. But USA is in a great position to do it. They've brought back the entire staff from last year's team. David Carl is going to be the head coach. He won both the World Juniors and the NCAA National Championship in the same year. He's got 2 national titles as a coach. He's got 1 World Junior now. He's been part of winning teams and winning cultures, and now he's trying to, make this go again. He'll also have as many as, if say Will Smith became available, they could have as many as 11 returnees from last year's team. And they've got their starting goalie back, Trey Augustine. They've got some of their top performers, Zeev Buyum, who had that tremendous season, will now probably be their number 1 defenseman this year. You've got Ryan Leonard, who is committed to come back. And one of the big reasons that he did go back to Boston College instead of joining with the Washington Capitals when he had the chance was to be part of this team and to be the captain potentially of this team. And I think he's got a great chance to be that. He is one of the leaders of this age group. And now after having an outsized role as a younger player last year and scoring some big goals, including in the gold medal game with the old, trying to blow kisses to the Swedish crowd after he scored. He's ready to go, and that's a guy that's going to be a big time player for them. The World Junior Summer Showcase, if you've never experienced or never heard of it before, is an evaluation camp. USA will have 46 players there. There will also be teams from Sweden, Finland, and this year Canada will return for a couple of games in Plymouth. They're also going to play a few games in Canada as well for this event. And so it is star-studded. There is really few places that you will be able to see as many top caliber prospects, because you think even great prospects get left off these teams all the time, but they're all going to be here. These extended rosters will be here, and you'll have a number of first round draft prospects from the US, from Canada, from Sweden. I think there should be 1 from Finland at least. So there are going to be top level players. And as far as summer hockey goes, it's really competitive because you've got the U.S., which will be split up into 2 teams before they cut the roster down and make it 1 team to play in the end of the tournament. There is so much talent that, it makes your head spin almost. So I'm excited to get there because I think it's going to be a really interesting event. The schedule is full of, games between these 2 teams. It is highly competitive. These players are vying for spots at the World Junior Championship. And this is one of their best opportunities with everybody under the same roof for these coaches to compare and contrast these players. And how you perform in this event is going to have a significant say in whether or not you make the team, because it is the one time you're all together. You're playing the systems, you're playing the roles. The coaches are getting a feel for how you compete. And so at the end of July going into August, we get this tremendous hockey event. And so I'm really excited to get there. Among the players, they're draft eligibles. We talked about James Higgins, Porter Martone, Malcolm Spence. And one of the real fascinating guys that I teased a little bit ago is Joshua Ravensbergen, who plays for the Prince George Cougars, had a really strong season last year and is probably going into this season as one of, if not the top goaltender for this draft. 6'4" goalie, right catching goalie as well. And he's from North Vancouver. What is in the water in North Vancouver and Vancouver, where they're churning out all of these incredible prospects? You got Bedard, you got Celebrini, you got Ravensburg, you got Chloe Permerano on the women's side. What's going on here? But anyway, Ravensburgen had a .931 save percentage, including 3 shutouts in 12 playoff games, a 9-2-1 record for Prince George. And then on top of that, just really an outstanding, an outstanding job by him over the course of the season. So he will be among Canada's goalies at this event. Some other players that are going to be there that are of note. I mean, these are just the first rounders from Canada. Oliver Bonk, Sam Dickinson, Tanner Molendijk, Zane Parekh, Carter Yakimchuk, Colby Barlow, Cole Bodoin, Berkeley Catton, Easton Cowan, Tisha Ginla, Jet Luchenko, Bradley Nadeau, Callum Ritchie, Beckett Seneca, Matthew Wood, and Braden Yeager. And Wood, Yeager, a number of the other players that I mentioned were on the team last year and will be there once again this year. And it is going to be a very good Canadian team. And I think that is going to make this event even better. Sweden will have a number of notable players as well. Victor Eklund, who is draft eligible this year, Theo Lindstein, Tom Olander, Leo Salon Wallenius, Lucas Pettersson, and Otto Stenberg among the notables. Finland will have Emil Hemming, and a number of other players, Atos Koivu. So this is going to be a really great event in Plymouth, and it's going to allow these teams to show some separation. But as I mentioned, for USA, this is a very significant time because repeating at this tournament has been elusive. It's something that they haven't done before. And now that they have this opportunity, this summer is a chance to set that all up. It's a chance to make it all work and go towards this goal has evaded other teams. And really, USA has gone back to the same coaching staff a number of times. Nate Lehman coached this event twice in a row. I believe Bob Motzko coached this team twice in a row. And now you've got David Carl, and I do think that this is a real opportunity, to learn from whatever the past was. Even when you have a lot of returning players, as they do, it's finding the right mix of the new guys, and so that's going to be the question. I think the blue line is almost going to have to be entirely rebuilt. Zeev Buium will become the number one defenseman. Lane Hudson was basically the number one defenseman last year in terms of minutes played. But I think you've got that. Is Cole Hudson going to be an option for you? Is EJ Emery, who was drafted in the first round, Logan Hensler, who's draft eligible, Adam Kleber out of the USHL. This class, I will say about this U.S. roster, which I find absolutely intriguing, is that there are so many players that played in the USHL last season. I think an abnormal amount of players that played in the USHL last season, which is great to see because the league was highly competitive last season. It was absolutely, the selections were warranted. There's a lot of really interesting players here. I mentioned Kleber. You look at a guy like Colin Ralph, who's going straight from Shattuck St. Mary's into St. Cloud State. Andrew Strathman, who's won a Clark Cup. Guys like that. Austin Bernovic, who had such a tremendous season last year, getting an opportunity to come back. He's got some size. Other players like Noah Powell, who and James Reeder from Dubuque that had such a tremendous season. Brandon Svoboda with championship potential. Max Swanson, who was the USHL Player of the Year. There are a lot of really good players that are there. They also are going to have a few CHL players in camp. Lucas Fisher is a guy that I'm really excited to see in this setting. How does he perform? He's a dual citizen. He's got, an opportunity here to make this roster as a big shutdown defenseman. Joe Willis, who won a cup, the Memorial Cup with the Saginaw Spirit, going to be there as well. But then you just look at the returnees, and this is the real thing that I think, separates Team USA, that'll allow them to be, a real championship contender. On the blue line, you got Zeev Buium, Drew Fortescue, Aaron Menedian, who did not play at the tournament but was part of the roster. Trey Augustine, the number 3 goalie, Sam Hillebrandt, both back. Trey Augustine, the starting goalie, and a big reason that Team USA won that gold medal. Ryan Leonard, Oliver Moore, Gabe Perreault, Kerry Terrance. Terrance was another guy that didn't play, but I mean, having those guys back, and then we'll see what happens with Will Smith, but I think he won't be available, so they have to plan for him not to be available. But you look at the number of players that are in this camp that are going to have a chance to return, and then the guys that either just missed out last year, guys like Paul Fisher, Zach Schultz, who won gold medals at the Under-18 World Championship. Tanner Adams, who had such a tremendous season at Providence College last year as a freshman. He's a guy that I think, he's been undrafted, but he's going to probably be a free agent signing at some point. there's just a lot, and there's a lot of first rounders in this group too. You look at Leonard, you look at Gabe Perreault, you look at all those other players, and there's really an opportunity here for Team USA to repeat. It's going to be hard in Canada. It's going to be in Ottawa. They're going to be in the same bracket as Canada. They're going to have the big game against Canada in the preliminary round. But it all starts here. So if you are a fan of the World Juniors, it all starts at this event.